Hey everyone, I'm Airwingmarine. Welcome back to the channel and my next Escape from Tarkov video. Today we're going to talk about barters for crafting. I dug in, I found a bunch of barters that you use specifically for crafting. You barter something to get an item that helps you craft and make stuff cheaper. So I figured I'd put a list together and share it with all of you guys to help you out for those that want it. So let's not waste any more time and dive right into it. Let's jump into a couple of these barters that are going to help you with your crafting a little bit. Now, by all means, I'm not trying to state that these things are going to make you $1 billion. They're not going to make you rich quick. There's nothing like that. But they're little tricks of the trade that you can use as you're doing crafting to try to maximize those profits you get out of your hideout. So the first one I want to talk about is probably one that's pretty popular with a lot of people, but they might not know about. And it has to do with the Slickers bar. So you come in here, you search Slickers bars, right? They're selling for 9,000 to 10,000. So you buy up 1, 2, 3 of these guys. Then you go over to Jaeger, and I believe this is a level 1 trade. Right here, level 1 Jaeger trade, and you get 3 scav vests. Then you can go to your hideout, and you can take those scav vests and turn those into ripstop. 2 ripstop specifically. So we spent 30k on scav vests, 29, 28k, depending on where you get your slickers at. And if you get them, if you craft them yourself, you can do this even a little bit cheaper. But normally you can sell ripstop into the mid 20s. It just kind of depends on the time of day. So you're turning 30k into 50k right there. So there's one that's the first trick. Now on top of this trick, a little bonus here. Let's just say slickers are kind of expensive, right? Let's say they're pushing 12k for some weird reason, or they're in a high 10ks. There's a Vita Juice trade. So if you buy a Vita Juice, so we'll get this one for 8,600, right? And once you get that Vita Juice, we'll go to required search, turn on barter offers, and right here at therapist, you can do 5 of these per trade. And it's just 1 Vita Juice. Boom, just like that, we have a Slickers bar. So there's another, it's just a little kind of bonus on top of that. The next one is technically 2 barters, but it's barters for the same thing, and it's sugar. There's 2 great barters out there for sugar, especially if you're mostly for using it to craft moonshine, but you can use it for other stuff. And the first one is pile of meds. Now, when you're looking for pile of meds, you got to kind of shop for these. You can't just be spending 12 and 13k. But if you're seeing them for 10, it's sub 10s into 11k, and you get 6 of those, let's say you're getting them for 11k, right? And you get 6 of them, so you're 66,000 to get a sugar, whereas sugar is normally selling for 70, 75, even into the 80s. It's kind of cheap right now. So this is kind of one of those points where it doesn't save you a whole lot to do it. But if you're also crafting pile of meds, this is something you can use. And you're usually crafting your pile of meds for sub 10,000. So that is one way to get sugar. And the second way is actually a 2-part barter. Not a 2-part barter, but a 2-part deal with the traders, if you will. And it's Jaeger here. And this one is a level 2. Yeah, level 2 with Jaeger. You've got pack of sugar for 5 ameliorite croutons. Now, you can actually buy 4 of these every reset from therapist. And it kind of depends on where they're at. Right now, she's the cheapest. So we can go in here, we'll buy all 4 of them, and then you go over back to Jaeger, and you get yourself another sugar out of it. And boom, there you go. So let's say you're paying, we were 14k, we're 13k and change, but we'll just say 14k for arguments purposes. That's 70k right there for a sugar. So again, right there on top of it. Now, if you're bringing these out of raid, is which what I do, I always keep these things when I find them, because they're technically worth that 14 to 15k, even though you can't sell them for that. I'm using them to get sugar and get sugar cheap. Now, if we see sugar start to pull back and get cheaper, these barters will kind of go out the window, but it's another great option for making moonshine. And since you can do these every reset, you can get 2 sugars. That's enough to keep moonshine flowing and never have to buy it. Now, next up is the SJ1 barter. And this is important for the craft for SJ6s, which we'll go look at that real quick. So when you're crafting SJ6s, right now, sodium solution, saline solution has gotten cheap, even though there's none on the market right now, which is really weird. It was selling for about 10k. It might get more expensive again, which in turn will push up SJ6s. But the biggest price component right now, single price component, is this one SJ1. And they cost 23,000, 24,000, which is a pretty good price. But you do have a barter in here for 1 syringe, 1 H2O2, and 1 sodium. So depending on where your syringes are at, so we'll look at syringes. So your 12k hydrogen peroxide should be about 8 to 9k, and then your sodium usually around 11K, but sometimes higher. So right now you're looking at about 30K, 28 to 30K for this barter. Now, if you shop for your components, you can get a little bit cheaper, or if these start to get more expensive, if these start to go up in price, this is the barter you look for to get SJ1s and craft SJ6s a little bit cheaper. It just kind of depends on what part of the white, but it's another barter that I think a lot of people overlook. Part of this also, when you're crafting propitols, you got Ibuprofen, right? Well, there's a handy dandy little Ibuprofen barter here. So Ibuprofens are going for 48 to 50K. You know, we were seeing them 70K earlier. That might change. Right now, you can get 1 blood set and 3 pile of meds. So if you're getting your 3 pile of meds, let's say for 11K, you're 33,000 plus your blood sets, which are selling for dirt cheap, 8 to 11. So you're 43K. So in order to get your Ibuprofen, we'll say 43K, maybe 44K, which is right where they're kind of selling on the low end now. But on the high end, this is a cheaper way to get your Ibuprofens for your crafts for propitols. Now, this one isn't great because there's so many other things you can do on the workbench. But if you're looking to craft green gunpowders and you don't have, I believe it's Spa Tour Part 3, whichever one unlocks the M67 grenades, that Spa Tour where you can buy them from Peacekeeper, there is a barter that you can get these for 2 Zibos. And it's right here. Now, right now at 36,000, that's probably pretty close because Zibos go for 15 to 18. But okay, see, now we got 10K Zibos. They're on the cheap end right now. This is perfect. So at 10,000, you're 20,000 for a grenade per. You can barter, and then you can use that with a smoke grenade from Proper and craft green gunpowder. So it's an option in there, kind of depending on when green gunpowder is the most profitable. Right now, there's so many other things to craft in the hideout, though, that this eats into your profit quite a bit because everybody else that's crafting green gunpowder is doing it for $78, which is right around 9 to 10,000 rubles. So, but just something I want to point out for people, they might not realize it's in there. Now, hopping over to the laboratory, this is not one of my top crafts, but there's a lot of people that really like this craft, especially if they're getting good with their components. And that's the 6SH18, the raid back, the couch, however you want to look at it. This backpack takes some interesting components. So you can get your ripstop, like we were seeing it there, kind of cheap. It looks like paracords have come down in price. Not a lot, but a little bit. So you're getting, if you can get these cheaper, if you get them out of raid and they don't have the found in raid moniker and you can't sell them, this is one of the things you can craft with them. The key is your army bags. Now these things suck to take out of the raid. People charge you quite a bit for them, but there are 2 barters for these. And they are actually both pretty good, especially if soap is cheap. Now, the first one is the best one. This is 2 AA batteries for an army bag. And this is with Proper. You can do 3 per cycle, which isn't enough to get you your the 4 you need. But if you do these every cycle and keep them stocked up, it works out okay. They just take up room. But you can get them for 8,000 to 9,000, maybe 10,000 if you're pushing it, right? With these AA batteries. So right now you're spending roughly half of what everybody who's buying them on the market is. And then the soap barter, we'll go look at that one real quick here. The soap barter with Jaeger, also a limit of 3. So when you're getting soaps for that 10 to 12K, you're still getting them a little bit cheaper. But especially if you can find soap for, you're seeing it sometimes 8 or 9,000, this is perfect. Or again, something if you're bringing soap out of raid and you don't want to sell it and use the flea market fee, you can use it to craft these raid backpacks. And these things sell for a pretty penny, especially on the higher end when they spike. You're going to push that 240 to 250,000 range, if not higher, if you catch these on their higher limits when people are buying them, especially this late in wipe when a lot of people are buying stuff like that. Now, one of the low-level crafts out there that's great, especially if you're doing your Punisher task, is this PACA vest to 2 Aramids. Now, Aramids are kind of volatile. They go anywhere from 20, I've seen them actually as low as 18, 17, 18, all the way up to 25. It just kind of depends on what people are bartering for and buying them for. But it takes 1 PACA. Now, you're going to see PACAs, if you try to buy them, they're going to stay right around 30,000, 29, 30,000 all day long because here's where Ragman is, right? Well, if you want to get them a little bit cheaper, you can go in and do a barter, as we're talking about. With Ragman, you have this barter for 3 of these masks. And these masks usually go for pretty cheap, 7, 8, sometimes 9,000. But nonetheless, you're getting them for 2 to 6,000 rubles cheaper than everybody else. Because if you got 7 here, so you're going 21 to 23,000 right here with these masks to do that barter, and then you're going to take that Aramid and sell that for anywhere from 40 to 50,000. You're making decent money. So here's a good craft. It's available. The thing is this is also available at level 1, and the barter is as well. So it's right here, level 1 Ragman. That's a great little craft for people that are really hurting on money or really hurting on space. This can help that out quite a bit, especially because you don't need fuel to run your lavatory. So it's one of those crafts that can help out at the start when you're kind of hurting for money. Now this one's kind of a cool little craft because it does circuit boards, which are always a pretty popular craft. But the problem is gas analyzers sell for, see, they actually sell for more than this. I'm going to buy this just to show you. But see, he's selling it for 11.5, and you're going to see him in these 12 to 13 range pretty much. Very rarely more expensive, sometimes a little bit higher. But the funny thing is when you go to sell this, she buys it for 13,000. So I just made, 1,500 rubles right there. Just something to keep in mind. But there is a barter for those that's even better. And here at Mechanic, he will allow you to barter one for a CPU fan. Now, if we go look at CPU fans, you're going to see these things are pretty cheap right now. And you'll see them even cheaper. You'll see them in 7,000 to 8,000 range. So now you're getting this thing for 3,000 or 4,000 cheaper on a craft that's really quick. That will make you money. So it's another way to get your gas analyzer every rotation. You're not going to be able to do this constantly, but it's a way to kind of, if you're cycling crafts, trying to level up your hideout, it's just another barter out there that can help you out quite a bit. And then the last one I want to go over is, it's not a super popular barter, but I think it's one that's worth mentioning, and it's for water because it has a lot of uses. So we looked at hydrogen peroxide already, selling for 8,000 or 9,000 versus your waters, which sell for 12 to 14 to 15, kind of depending on where the reset is, right? We'll take off the barter so you can see it. So right here, you have the barter for hydrogen peroxide, which is probably 9,000 rubles. Yep, right there. But the beauty of this is now you have water that you can drink. So you're getting water a little bit cheaper. You're saving yourself 3,000 rubles, which might not sound like a lot, and you can get your hydration up. But the key is to drink that to 59 of 100. Let me go look at my stuff here and see if I have a water I can show you with. All right, so we'll do this. Even though I don't need it, I just want to show you guys an example. So if you go to here and you use 59 of 60, right? I said 59 of 100, but 59 of 60. So you have 1 out of 60 left. You can still use this water for everything in here. For as far as crafting is concerned. Sorry, I went to the wrong place. So if you want to craft shampoo, which is probably one of the best crafts with water, right here, boom, that still works. You can use that bottle of water to craft that shampoo. There's also a couple other crafts over in the nutrition unit that this will help push them into actually profitable. If you do this 5 times and you're saving up for vodka, you're doing the kvass doesn't usually make you money, but you can scratch out a little bit with the max energies. All of those crafts that use water, if you're dual using that, and now even if you're not, you're still saving 3,000 off of buying them, so it helps give you a little bit more profit. But it's just another little barter in there that can help out all that little bit. And once you have a lot of money, these barters don't matter all that much. I will admit that. It's just easier to go buy this stuff than it is to go through all these steps of bartering. But if you have fun out of kind of beating the system or finding all these little tricks. That's why I wanted to point this out. Or if you're just starting out, especially late in wipe, it can be super hard to get money with a small stash or anything like that. And all these little bits and pieces can help. It's the difference between being able to buy a mag or not buy a mag and that kind of thing. So that's pretty much it. Actually, you know what? I do want to do one more little bonus for you. And you probably already know this, but it's pretty important to bring up for some people. With proper level 2, which is pretty easy to get to. This barter here, if you do it properly, will save you a ton of money on fuel, even if you can buy it from Jaeger level 3. Even if you're at the point where you're buying fuel from Jaeger level 3, which is here, you can buy, or is it 2? I'm sorry, level 2. You can buy these from Jaeger level 2. You can do this even cheaper if you get your propanes right. Now, propane is super volatile. It goes all over the place. You'll see it as low as 35,000 and as high as 70,000. It'll usually hover in the 40,000 range. So right now, if we buy 2 of these up, we're right at 90,000 for these two for 2 of them. And then you buy a fuel conditioner, which fuel conditioners run right around 36. They don't usually change all that much, but you get a fuel conditioner for 36, 37. Now you're buying a fuel for 125,000, 126, 130. And if you get even cheaper, you're getting it for less than 100,000. If you're really good with buying your materials or you're using stuff you find in raid, it's a great way to get fuel from proper. And there's a barter with Jaeger too. And if you can't buy it yet, where's this barter at? This level 1 barter is actually feasible. It's cheaper than buying it on the flea market, but just barely, and you've got to get your matches super cheap. But with fuel running in the 200s, you do save a little bit of money most of the time with this barter, if that's all you have. I would prefer the proper one, but this one's here just in case. And when there was a fuel shortage, this was a really popular barter, but right now it's just not quite worth it. You're spending anywhere from 150 to 160 just for this barter, for this blue fuel tank, which the price per unit of fuel isn't worthwhile. Now, if you're getting super scrappy and you're using these, you know, you're bartering for these and you're burning them up and then you're using those to craft mag cases, good on you. You're doing a ton of work. You're making extra money. That's more than most people are willing to do, though. So that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of barters for you guys to help out your crafting. I hope it's helpful, and I wish you the best of luck in making money in Tarkov. Well, that wraps up the video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button because it helps out the channel a bunch, and subscribe for future content. We also have a Discord, links down in the description, that you can come join. We're filling up with a bunch of chill people who just love to play Tarkov. If you're looking to support the channel in other ways, we've launched a Patreon with some benefits like access to a Discord channel, constantly updated spreadsheet for my hideout calculations, and some other things if you want to go check it out over there. Lastly, thanks for your support on YouTube. It means the world to me, and I greatly appreciate every one of you. So with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in Tarkov.